viewers. I'm Jyotisri Vasudevan will be your first presenter in this television slot. There are 6 aspects in this television slot and starting from introduction, item 1 till 4 that consists of question 1, question 2, question 3 and also question 4. Lastly, the conclusion. First part is the introduction. The journal that we have chosen is from Juruthara Journal platform and the title of journal is Benchmarking River Water Quality in Malaysia. The author is Engineer Zaki Zainuddin and issued in February and consists of 15 pages. River water quality in Malaysia has long been a source of worry for local governments, agencies and the general population. Rivers in Malaysia are often regarded as polluted with notable example including Sungai Klang in Selangor as shown in figure in the slide above. Physical observation alone can indicate that something is wrong with existing water quality of these rivers. However, from a scientific standpoint, quantifying the degree of contamination is still required in order to handle pollution concern in a methodical and optimized manner. This study has achieved the objective were able to determine the water quality by suggesting two main methods called Water Quality Index or known as WQI and Intermin National Water Quality Standard INWQS method. Secondly, the item 1 which is background of this case study. In 1985, the government launched a nationwide study titled Development of Water Quality Criteria and Standard for Malaysia, led by a multidisciplinary team of specialists from universities around the country. The research was conducted in 4 stages with the goal of producing a nationwide benchmark of water quality conditions on a per parameter basis. The investigation was required since just applying foreign standard to local setting would not be appropriate owing to variances in environmental factors and climatology. The solubility of oxygen is an excellent example. The tropical environment limits oxygen solubility in Malaysia. Cold climate nations, on the other hand, have higher oxygen solubility. In short, this background of this study illuminated that this study focuses on the beneficial uses of water, including water for home water supply, fisheries and aquatic propagation, livestock drinking, recreation, and agricultural usage. Overall, the INWQS and WQI method has been found as a useful water quality benchmarking tools and methods, but with certain limitations. More significantly, the competent authorities and organizations involved in watershed management must use these technologies in order to be effective. The implication and constraint of benchmarking using the INWQS and WQI must be understood by the authority so that the river quality preservation measures may be carried out smoothly. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyotisri, and Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Ifan Fikri bin Badri Sham and I will be your second presenter. Now I will continue to explain and touch on the next topic regarding on the findings comparison and the conventional methods to our journals and our case study. So throughout our case studies, so now in comparison, based on the case study that we have chosen, the objectives of the journal are similar to our experiments as this study aims to measure the water quality status of the Kelang River. However, for our study, is targeting the Galing River and the Gambang Lake. So before performing this study, many researchers evaluated several districts in Selangor, such as Kuala Langat, Klang, Hulu Langat, Gombak, and Kuala Selangor. And many of these districts in Selangor turn out to be the most populated and industrial, which is the reason for these rivers in Selangor are facing serious contaminations, and especially due to the anthropogenic activities. And most of the source of this contamination were originated from the industrial, agricultural, livestock farming, and the erosion. Now, the Kelang River was chosen for this study because its value a recreational area, and if this river considered unsafe, more steps should be done and preserved and to improve its condition. Similar to our studies on Galing River and Gambang Lake, both places taken as the river which has a rapid development, the city in its area where the upstreams of the area from the Semambu industrial area and from the downstream part is the center of the Kuantan. So while in the middle of the Kuantan River, is mixed development areas such as the housing and the economic growth center. So it's also the main drainage system from the eastern part of the Kuantan city. So now we are moving on to our comparison findings. We are focusing on to compare the pH on the Galing River and the Gambang Lake in our case study. So the pH is quite similar with 6.87 for the Galing River and the 6.85 for Gambang Lake. So according to some researchers named Zuba, in 2011, the pH of freshwater lakes, ponds, and streams varies based on the underlying soils and bedrock. So the pH of water is normally higher between 7.5 to 8.5 at the surface, but in the lower surface is between 6.5 and 7.5 at the greater depths or in a deeper lakes, where the stratification of the laying occurs. So based on the DOE Water Quality Index classification and the INWQS, like Jyotishree has already explained, class definition, both Galing River and the Gambang Lake are classed between the 1 Roman and the 2 Roman with the conventional treatments needed. So this shows that both river and the Gambang Lake in our study is contaminated. So this can be concluded that both Galing River and the Gambang Lake, as the river is a natural stream of water, may contaminated from the industrial, agricultural, and the livestock farming from and also erosions. So hence, even though the pH is quite normal, as we can see, it cannot be concluded that the quality of the river and lake is safe. Some part of it is highly contaminated with even more dangerous chemicals that is released by industrial sectors. With only based on the pH measurement, it cannot be concluded entirely the condition for both Galing River and the Gambang Lake. So now let's move on to the third topic, which is the conventional method used to treat the chosen case study. So according to one of the research by Stratovotova in 2017, the traditional research process consists of the 7 steps, which is the formulation of a research question and problems, background observations, formulation of a hypothesis, designs of experiments, testing and hypothesis collection of the data, and the analysis of the results. So in this study, this stated the conventional methods have been implemented in terms of the methods using the INWQS and the WQI method has been performed to determine the water quality. A water quality index or WQI assigned a quality value to a collection of measurable factors. It is typically composed of the sub-index values assigned to each pre-identified parameters by comparing its measurement to a parameter-specific rating curve. So optionally weighted and combined to form this final index. So besides that, the INWQS established the water quality threshold required to maintain the microaquatic life with varied degrees of sensitivity. So overall, by using these 2 parameters of the WQI and the INWQS, it has been found that it's a useful method for water quality benchmarking tools, but with a certain limitations. More significantly, the competent authorities and the organization involved in the watershed management must use these technologies effectively. The implication and the constraint of the benchmarking using both of these methods must be understood and authorized so that the river water quality preservation measures may be carried out smoothly. And I think that is all the method that they are using. So now I will pass to the next presenter, Tivia, on discussing in deeper about the bioremediation methods. Thank you.
Good day to all. My name is Divya Karthikeyan and my student ID is SB20090. I would like to explain about my contribution in assignment 2. My part is about proposing bioremediation methods to treat the case study, and I also contributed to answer the questions given in the lab manual. Let me begin with the methods of bioremediation. The first method that I suggested to treat the polluted water of Galing River and Gambang Lake is phytoremediation. Living plants are used in phytoremediation technologies to clean up soil, air, and water that have been contaminated with dangerous pollutants. So it can be defined as the employment of green plants and associated microbes, as well as the correct soil amendments and agronomic practices to either contain, remove, or render hazardous environmental toxins harmless in the water system. Secondly, I suggested a phycoremediation method to remediate the excess nutrients in the water system. Mycoremediation is a new algal-based technique that can be used to remove a variety of pollutants from water. Last but not least, I also suggested a bioremediation method that promotes denitrification using useful microorganisms. When microorganisms such as bacteria, fungus, and small plants, which are employed to extract pollutants, come into contact with contaminants such as excess nutrients, metals, and harsh chemicals, the process begins. The pollutants are used as food by the microorganisms. The reason I suggest these methods is because they are cost saving, as they don't involve heavy cost materials or machineries, and the methods are fully based on renewable energy to drive the cleanup techniques. Lastly, I also mentioned before that I have answered and explained the questions asked in the lab manual. So besides that, I also described the results obtained by our group and also compared with other groups. In addition, I have also provided an external link for the complete data and results obtained from the lab session on the last part of the questions and answer. That's all from me. Thank you.